I imagine you guys felt the energy in the building on Saturday night. How good was that to see, and for you guys especially, that you were producing that energy
Yeah,
and
that
you were
was
feeding off of it, I think, too.
no question. The energy on Saturday night was fun. I think there were so many parts of that game that were so exciting. And what I really, really liked about our team was, obviously we have the great start. You jump up 3-1 on them. Then all of a sudden, a couple minutes later, you look at the scoreboard and you're down 5-3. It was just the effort that we had to generate more energy to figure out on a back-to-back games against such a good skating team. To be able to create so much offense, to be able to get back into that game was just fun to watch. And it did help the energy in the building, the physicality of the game, and really both games was a big part of this series as well. I think that was probably the most physical series that we've had. So it was a great win for our guys. The excitement in the building was, certainly fun for all of us to hear and see.
Brian?
Have you noticed your team gaining the ability to be more physical with the opposition as the season's moved along?
I think so, and I think, and really, Dominic Mersch's hits, and Roman Sean's hits, all of our defense are physical. But the battle at both net fronts, Will Johnson this week was around the net all the time. Doogie and Baker, and that one goal you saw, the price that they paid to score that goal. I think at both nets, I think our D is physical and smart enough to know how to protect the net front. So I think there's a lot of physicality that goes on around both the nets that you don't see, necessarily where the puck's at. So I think we have grown to be a more aggressive team physically. I think we've been better on the forecheck, on finishing, quite a bit. So yeah, I think we've grown in that area.
Todd?
USA Hockey is going to announce the World Juniors preliminary roster, at least sometime this week. What kind of case would you make for Keandre and Ty and I guess maybe Sean to get that opportunity to be part of that team?
It's special, obviously. Trent Frederick last year had a great tournament. Luke Cunnin the year before that. We're hoping all three of them have that opportunity. I think they've all played well enough to deserve it. We'll wait and see what they do with that roster, but I think with the viewings that USA Hockey's had, and watching our team a lot, there's a lot of guys in the mix, that Josh S, Tyler Namoto were also being watched. So they've been around a lot. The coaches have been in a lot to see our team, and hopefully a few of our guys will get that opportunity.
Brian?
Will Johnson had mentioned prior to the series that he thought the goals would come, and obviously they did. Did you feel the same way?
I did. You're always hoping, and as a coach, your game plan on how to produce and how to score. During your weekend when you're addressing your team on how to get to Jones as a big goalie, so net front presence, paying a price to score a goal, shooting a certain, not wasting shots, but making sure you're getting a lot of pucks to the net was a big part of the game plan. But ultimately, you got to pay a big price to do it. I mean, you look at their defense is a pretty big group as well, and I'll give you the examples of Johnson's goals and the example of the goal that Baker ended up scoring there. You got to take about 5 cross checks to stand around to be able to find a loose puck there. So I think that was a big part of it. We did a better job of finding a way to get to the net and keeping more pucks in that area. And giving ourselves a chance at a second or third, or probably a fourth whack in that situation to be able to finally bang home a rebound.
Todd?
I think we knew that Keandre had a pretty high offensive capacity. Have you been surprised at how much he's been a part of the offense, even given that what you knew?
I wouldn't say surprised. Obviously, pleased would be a better word. I think his confidence for a young player, a freshman, and the desire from within when the game's on the line to want to be part of it is really special for a young player. And I think that's part of probably, you don't really know about him as you recruit him and you learn about him. You hope he has that inside him. But when you get them on your bench and you get them in practice and you get them in your locker room and you get to know the kid, that comes from within. And the tighter the game, the bigger the moment, the more he wants to be on the ice, being part of it. And that's a special quality to have.
In the back, Julia.
I can do it without. Okay. A couple of times this season, this team has let up 2 or 3 goals in about a minute span. What have you seen during that time, and kind of what do you do moving forward to kind of make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think in college hockey, first of all, there's a lot of momentum changes in games, and things happen fast. I think for us, the one thing that we said, early in the season is that the youth leads to lots of unpredictability, and I think that's part of the growing process of understanding when something does go wrong, how do you stop it and turn it back the other way faster. But so it has happened a few times. The times that I remember that happening, the Minnesota one in particular, when we gave up 3 goals in a minute and 30 seconds there to lose that game, that was, a goal that was somewhat controversial because our goalie gets knocked to the back of the net, and then we get a penalty out of it. And so we gave them a power play. And in this situation here, the same thing happened. They score, and then we give them 2 power plays back to back. They score on both those. So staying 5-on-5, staying aggressive, but really, our team has been best when we're on the forecheck and playing aggressively offensively, and in those situations we probably get too much on our heels and allowed the other team to get some offensive zone time, not only score but also draw some penalties in that situation. So we do have to get better at that, but that's part of being young, is learning from those experiences, and hopefully the next time it happens we're ready to handle it differently.
Brian.
How much different is Michigan State style to Penn State style?
A lot. That Michigan State will be a grinding, hard-working team. Danton Cole has done a really good job of turning that program around fast. They got the one line that we will have to be aware of. They're probably as good as any line in college hockey. They will grind it out. They will be physical. They will not want to open it up and go run and gun. They'll try to play a more disciplined game as far as, like I said, grinding out a road win. So I would it's going to be important for us, and this is the message that we have to have all week. So this is the first time in a while we're not playing a ranked team, but they are as good as a lot of the ranked teams that we've played. They compete. They've just beat Michigan and tied Michigan. They're a team that's really established their identity as a grinding team that's hard to play against. And it's important for us, especially with finals coming up and these being the last 2 games before finals, we got to stay focused on getting better each and every week. So there's areas of the game, and Julia mentioned one about the consistency, and when something bad happens, don't let it turn into something worse. So there's things that this week we really got to be prepared to deal with when State comes into town.
Todd.
I think we've seen that Daniel Lebedev's an emotional guy out on the ice. You okay with that? Is that just kind of something you, as a goalie, you kind of have to let him go, and I guess what's your plan going forward for how you're handling goals?
Same thing with Daniel as with all of our with our team. He's young. He's played 8 or 9 college hockey games so far, and he's played great. And he's intense. He's emotional. He's a competitor. And when things happen, I think that's the part that I love about the kid. Is we talked after the game, we'll talk again today. You'll learn from it, and he'll be in the net this weekend. We haven't decided who's going to start on Friday, but he will play. He's off to a great start. Jack Berry came in and did a sensational job. Didn't start Friday, didn't start Saturday, sitting on the bench, and all of a sudden we say, hey, we need you. And he came in and did a great job for us to keep us in a position to be able to make the comeback.